to all the fans of WLW. Y'all keep on supporting this organization because they're going to be the next big thing.
Welcome to World League Wrestling Amplify. I'm CT Harrison, and as always with me, my partner in crime, Martin Kattich.
Hey, folks, how's it going this Sunday?
This Sunday.
Not last Sunday.
Last Sunday was a good show, though.
Was a good show, but it's not last Sunday now.
Tis not.
It's this Sunday.
I would, however, like to say a big thank you to our sponsors at World League Wrestling, because without them, this would not be possible. Jim Trineri Ford in Moscow Mills. Stop it. Okay. Jim Trineri Ford in Moscow Mills, Missouri. Jim Trineri Chevrolet in Troy, Missouri. Impact Digital Designs.
And CT Harrison Business Solutions. I was going to say them backwards.
Traveling East Productions.
Now, see, I got all hyped up to do something else, and I messed it up.
That's okay.
This is what I do.
I understand.
There we go. Colton Vought's already here in the chat.
Hello, Colton Theron Vaught.
Who?
We will talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's not give it away yet.
What a beast.
But we will. Oh, he just won a couple of medals, too. Did you see that?
Yeah.
On social media?
Yeah.
Was that the mixed martial arts? Was that just a.
Yeah, it was at the Tulsa Open.
Was it?
That's about as far as I know, but I seen him post about it. I read everything he posted up, and whoa, Sean Patrick's out.
Sean Patrick, looky there, our junior heavyweight champion. Sean Patrick is in. Hello, Sean. Austin. Who else is in there? Lots of people.
Yes, a lot more than I expected this early on.
Absolutely.
Sean Patrick talking about his match.
Yeah. He fumbled the bag on the 11th. What does that mean? Oh, okay, at the show. Yeah. Well, you know what? We might as well talk about that, because let's talk about that. Sean Patrick faced on this last show on the 11th at the Race Wrestling Arena in Troy. He faced Raheem De La Suede.
Yes, he did. I was there for that, as close as you can get.
You couldn't get any closer. How was it being in the ring with those guys and officiating that match?
It's amazing to watch these young lions work. I mean, they get in there and they're innovative on offense. At 2 or 3 points, I thought the match was already over.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean really poured it on, and Suede seemed to weather it. And the only way I know how to say it is he shocked the world. But, just like any of the other young lions out there, it shouldn't be a shock to the world that these young men can win the matches. I mean, they've completed the training, They know what they're doing in there.
Two of the young lions that came out of the last batch of trainees at the Race Wrestling Academy in Sean Patrick and Raheem De La Suede. Raheem pulled off the win. So my question is this: does that make him number one contender now for the Junior Heavyweight Championship? Are we going to see a rematch for it now? Because the title was not on the line.
No, it wasn't. It was just a match. But when a champion loses,
you would think
you can't call it just a match anymore.
Correct.
So.
And it doesn't, and it wasn't won by DQ or anything either. That was a solid win. So
yeah, it was 3
stay
counts.
tuned to WLW TV for that one.
Right, I'm pretty sure that Raheem De La Suede feels he's the number one contender now.
I do too. I feel he is too. I don't know. What does Sean say about that? That would be interesting to say. Sean, how do you feel about that? Does that make Raheem De La Suede the number one contender for your title? Are you willing to put it up against him again?
I would
put it on the line this time.
I would assume that Sean is up for a challenge.
I have not seen Sean turn down any challenge, ever.
That junior heavyweight title just seems to have a huge target on its back right now.
And I was just about to say that too, because not only now you have Raheem De La Suede would win, he still has to keep looking over his shoulder because 2.0 has got to show up at some point in time. He has not redeemed himself for losing that title to Sean Patrick.
But yeah, it's and Sean says he is ready for a challenge from Raheem De La Suede. So there you go. Just as you would think, he's not backing down one way or another. You can also consider the fact that John Webb expressed an interest in possibly going back after that.
He did say he could.
So,
Now, also in the last show, judging by the comments of our last guest last Sunday, in Jaden Dominic Rose, that doesn't put JDR out
no, it
for
doesn't.
coming for it as well, because he could easily do it himself. So Sean has got several. Well, okay, John Webb, first of all, was the first junior heavyweight champion.
That's right.
Okay.
Inaugural champion.
He was the inaugural champion, and in his own right is probably one of the most talented and toughest opponents that Sean could probably face in that ring right now. So if John Webb was to come back for that, that would be one heck of a match.
Well, yeah. I mean, Sean Patrick shocked John Webb twice, I think it was.
Yes.
So, you know.
But didn't he beat John Webb in his first match in?
That was his debut match.
His debut match, Sean Patrick actually beat John Webb. So, man, there's a little retribution for John Webb if he was to come back and go for the belt.
Right, because he's not going to take that. I
Sure.
mean, John Webb don't just take that laying down.
No.
No, Sean Patrick's definitely a champion who has to have his head on a swivel right now.
Sure.
He's got it seems everybody's gunning for him. He's got that DTA mentality, I hope. Because right now he really can't trust anybody. Everyone wants a shot at that belt.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Except maybe world champion Derek Stone.
No, but if John Webb was to get that title, you would have every single title in World League Wrestling within the Empire.
And,
Because that brings us to the next point. On the 11th, we actually crowned new World League Wrestling Tag Team Champions in the Empire with Camaro Jackson and John Webb winning those titles over Colton Theron Vaught and Moses the Deliverer. And not easily either.
That's right.
I mean, you had Colton went off the rails and made the challenge and put the belts on the line. Man, what a match. And I'm on the floor. Here's my problem, okay? I'm sitting on the floor. I've got the camera in hand, okay? And I'm filming these matches. And as I'm watching them, do you know how difficult it is to keep my eye on the screen and not watch the match? Because I'm trying to watch my peephole in the camera,
right,
so that I can get good footage and not watch the match. It's
well, sometimes I'm too close to the action in my opinion.
Did you ref that match?
Yes, I did. And that was one of the matches where there were times I was just too close to the action because it was flowing all over the place. There was, it was hard to control. Both teams did stick to their corners to the best of their abilities, although it's a World Tag Team title match.
Anytime the titles are on the line, things are going to go off the rail at some point in time.
That's right.
That's just a given. When the titles are on the line, tempers are going to fly, emotions are going to be sky high.
Well, you figure it was Camaro Jackson and John Webb, and both of them know full well what's on the line in a world title match of any sort. And you got the two newly crowned tag team champions, Moses and Colton Vaught.
Correct.
Both of those young men are beasts. They don't have a whole lot of backup in them. And they know full well what's on the line.
Who took the belts, actually, off of John Webb.
And Derek Stone.
The World League Wrestling Heavyweight Champion.
So, you can't think that this is a fluke.
No.
You have to count on the fact that these two young men are going to be back in the picture very soon, if not immediately.
And speaking of Derek Stone, he had a match as well.
That he did. He ended up having a match with Superstar Steve, who
made a wonderful return to World League Wrestling. We saw him at first. We saw him show up right before everything kind of collapsed on everybody, right before the COVID thing hit. He shows up to defend Brandon Espinosa, to defend SB in the ring, to defend, and then he shows up for a promo, and what happens? Boom. A match is made, a challenge is made. Here comes Derek Stone, thinking Superstar Steve was not going to be a problem. But you have two of some of the longest tenured wrestlers at World League Wrestling right now.
100% true there.
Okay? You have Derek Stone, was the first trainer. You have Superstar Steve, who's been there from freaking almost day one. He's been there quite a while. Old school World League Wrestling. Has not lost a step at all.
No, he hasn't. And what a match it was. There was no title on the line, folks. But what a match. I won't tell you how it finished up. But you could say that Derek's going to have to start paying attention to the people who are stepping up to him.
Well, I'm afraid he's got two on his tail right now, in my opinion, from what I see. One is Superstar Steve, who would love to claim that title. Okay?
That's right.
The other is a returning, as I said earlier, a returning Jaden Dominic Rose.
That's right.
And I could see that being a problem for him as well.
Well, you know, it's a conundrum to have a title. You want the title, but the second you get the title, there's going to be constantly someone trying to take it from you. Work their way in, play mind games, something like that. You know, come straight at you.
Sean Patrick says, I'll even say it. Eventually, we will get to a point where we are no longer even young lions. We wrestle the best that WLW has to offer. We are in the main event of each show. We are champions, competitors, showing up and killing it. I agree 100%, Sean. I think you guys are past the young lion stage in a lot of ways. Absolutely, for sure. We're proud of you as well. You guys, yeah, absolutely. You were given the opportunity to showcase your abilities, and you guys are proving every day, not only in the ring but at practice, that you're able to compete with people who traveled the world in this business, as in, you know, the Derek Stones, the John Webbs, the even I would even venture to say you could bring back the Roman dynasty. Bring back,
we haven't seen Kareem here in a while.
We haven't seen Kareem in a while. Kareem was actually here before COVID hit.
Yes.
And had to go back to Italy. But Kareem Brigante is one of those guys that has traveled Europe, the Mediterranean, and the United States as well. And I would love to see some of those matches with him if he should ever return. But you're right. Sean says, he doesn't care who it is. Swade, CTV, Moses, Webb, Jackson, Stone, Steve, and their list goes on and on. Even mentioned ZC Hendricks, Jack Gamble, Jaden Roller. I'm here to compete. And you know what? I believe him absolutely 100% because Sean is a fighting champion, and I have no doubt that he will continue to be a fighting champion even after he loses that title.
That's right.
If and when he loses that title, he'll continue to fight. That's just who Sean Patrick is.
Well, I got to watch him train. I've got to watch him in the ring now quite a few times, wrestling singles matches and tag matches. And, he puts in the end that he's there to compete and get beat up and kick some tail while he's at it. And I think when it comes right down to it, I think he's going to be on the tail end of the getting his tail kicked a little bit less. because he is a strong competitor. He's one of the tops of the younger people coming up right now. I feel Young Lions, they define Young Lion.
Well,
so
we
might have to change the name of the division because of how these guys did.
Our Young Lions actually define the momentum, the direction, and the future of World League Wrestling. Every new class that comes out of that wrestling academy is a brand new definition.
Right, and they deserve their rightful props for the fact that they helped rejuvenate, really, in a lot of ways. And they've added, they have not subtracted in any way, shape, or form, and that's a wonderful thing.
You talk to some guys like Gamble and Superstar Steve and Jaden Dominic Rose and their feelings towards the Young Lions. They're proud.
Yeah,
to
the
see those
respect
guys.
goes both ways.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. So
you don't see that in a lot of places, but here the respect goes both ways, and it shows too.
Oh yeah. What else do we have on the 11th?
Well, we had
I didn't write down the matches, and I should have. Jaden Roller. I don't know. Against ZC
roller's
Hendricks.
the right word, man, because he rolled.
Well, something different is happening with ZC Hendricks, and I'm not really sure where his head's at right now.
Right.
You saw, I saw it. There was almost a new fire in him, and then quickly dismissed by Jaden. The heartthrob just squished it.
Yeah, he showed him no mercy. That's the only way and I know he hasn't taken a win yet, but I do believe it's coming because ZC Hendricks is a tenacious young man. He's a scrapper. He's, he may not always elect to go for the toe hold over the broken nose,
Well,
and there's something to be said for that kind of toughness too. You had your Dick the Bruisers and, your Terry Gordys, and they like to get in there and just beat you up. And, someday I think he's going to find his step, and he's going to do what he has to do too.
It'll come around. Something will happen.
But I felt like it was mostly Jaden Roller made a statement.
It was, but I did see, man, for just a moment there, I saw something in ZC Hendricks. For a moment there. And I thought, here we go. And then there it went. The heartthrob just squished it.
It's,
You got to come to one of these live events.
Heartthrob is a wily competitor.
Yeah. See, you got to come to one of these events to really understand what I'm saying on this, because when you watch somebody like ZC Hendricks, who at this point in time does not have a W under his belt in competition at World League Wrestling, but I really to watch that match, you would understand what I'm saying when I say that I saw a glimpse there. There was a fire for a moment there to where I almost believed he's going to pull this off, and then boom, the hammer fell.
That's right.
Or I should say the heartthrob fell.
And we got a fan, Austin, who wants to train. We keep telling the world that someday he could very well be a WLW star.
Sure.
He says Stefan Newton versus the returning Kyle Roberts.
Now, we saw a little bit of a difference in Kyle Roberts. A little difference in his game.
I was busy backstage. There had already been a little bit of a kerfuffle, and I was needed backstage, so I didn't get to see the match. But I did see Kyle Roberts walking around in that mask, and he had a very cold demeanor about him. He wasn't talking. He wasn't, and he would always spare a word for you.
Usually.
But he seems to be a little bit more focused, maybe. I'm not sure what to make of the new look in the mask, but
I'm not either. When everything went down between him and Rex, I just wasn't sure what was going to happen with Kyle. And then we didn't see him for a little bit. And then he shows up, and when he came through the curtain, and number one, I'm used to a certain Kyle Roberts look. And then you saw him in trunks. And instead of tights this time, he was in trunks and the mask. And I thought, that can't be Kyle. It's built like Kyle.
Right.
It kind of looks like Kyle. It's the same size, but it just wasn't the same Kyle. And I'm not disappointed either in it whatsoever.
No, he's rejuvenating. He's becoming something different. That's the only way I know how to say it. If I can catch him and get him to speak, I can elaborate more. But so far, he has not spoke to me. So,
well, maybe we could get him on the show.
I don't know what that would be like, but
we could try.
We could try. Just like Sean Patrick said, we're here to kick butt and get our butt kicked. So,
in this business, you don't survive longevity in this business as a competitor unless you evolve. Okay, you got to keep evolving. And I feel like that's what's happening with Kyle Roberts. I feel like he's evolving himself. He's maybe becoming a stronger, better Kyle Roberts. Now, I don't know where he's at in his head, though. See, and that's where the problem lies, because you don't know where his head is.
Right.
Where's his mentality? What's he thinking if he doesn't tell us? I mean, I don't want to think. I don't ever want to think of a dark Kyle Roberts. I don't ever want to think of a Kyle, becoming something that he never was. Now, we did see a lot of anger out of him with the Rex situation.
That's right, and it could have turned him a little bit.
It could have. Who knows?
That can be.
I did see a little meanness in him on the 11th, though.
That's right, and he had to get mean with Rex. So
is it? I wonder if it's like a pit bull. If it's like a dog. They taste blood, and once they taste blood, it changes the way they see the world.
It could be. Could very well be.
He tasted blood with Rex.
I mean, he never, he was always in a tag team. And then to have his tag team break up around him and him to come out of it. And, he's had this happen a few times over his stay, where he's had partners that just disappeared. I mean, he was tag team champion with Scott Steiner. And Scott Steiner couldn't, he lost the title there.
Night of Champions.
That's right. And then he was tag team champion with Rex. And he lost the title there. He contended with several other people over the time that I've been watching and involved with World League Wrestling.
Right.
And it's always been, he just gets to the top of that tag team mountain and it gets yanked out from under him. So, this could be just a buildup.
It's possible.
Of everything that's come before just kind of coming to an head, and the bubble's about to burst.
Could be. It's something that I definitely look forward to seeing where it goes, for sure. There's a lot of stuff going on today in the world of wrestling. A lot of changes that are being made, not just at World League Wrestling, but around the globe. Wrestling has had kind of I don't want to call it a resurgence, because it's always been, it's not like in the 80s when you almost had to hide the fact that you were a wrestling fan. It's like, oh, you're a wrestling fan, you dweeb.
Right.
That's, nowadays it seems like everybody's a secret wrestling fan in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
But back. Well, you go back to the Monday Night Wars, and you know the whole WCW versus WWE thing, or at the beginning WWF. But now you have this whole idea of what they're trying to call a Wednesday night war between the NXT brand and AEW. You know, like you're putting the Khans versus the McMahons, and there's this whole idea of it being a war, and I personally don't see it as a war. And that's just me. It's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it, just like you are. But if you are one of these people that is hoping that one company fails because you like the other one, then you're part of the problem, and you're missing the big picture here, in my opinion. Because Vince McMahon is not the winner here in the ratings. Tony Khan is not the winner here in the ratings. I don't care what Chris Jericho says. Chris Jericho, when it comes to Twitter, is a jerk. But that's just who he is, right? But my point here is this. Neither company is the winner here. Who's the winner in all this? We are.
That's right.
The fans are the winners here, dude, because we get everything. We get New Japan. We get ROH. We get, AEW. We get, TNA. We get, WWE, NXT, the whole bit. Look at all the products we have now.
That's right. There's
that we can watch. Every day is a new product for us. And we're winning. We're winning. We're winning the war. The real winners of this war is us, the fans.
That's right. And I've heard AEW say that they don't consider it going to war.
No.
With NXT or WWE, but
I don't think Vince thinks it's a war either.
No. They're just trying to do the best that they can do, I think, at the time. I mean, it's, wrestling's about putting on the best show you can possibly put on.
Yeah.
So, you can call it a war. You can call, the thing that bothers me the most is when I see the fans arguing amongst each other. NXT or WWE.
Yeah.
Because the thing is they're arguing over which one's better. And I've said this a few times. It's always subjective, which one's better. It's what do you like? That's what wrestling's really about, is what do you like? What do you enjoy, and what do you gravitate towards? And to sit and try and be mad at somebody else because of the way they see something else like this. Something is good for everyone as entertainment. It hurts the product as a whole to watch you go at it. You could talk about the things that are good about what you watch, rather than talk about the things you hate about what you don't watch, which if you're talking about the things you hate about what you don't watch, you got to be kind of
watching it, so how can you hate it?
Right. Well, you're either watching it to find things to complain about, or you're watching it and enjoying it and telling the world something different,
right?
Because you want someone else to, quotation marks in the air, win.
Yeah.
We all win. There's lots of wrestlers getting to work. There's lots of fans getting to enjoy wrestling everywhere they are, even through a time of, that it is. We can still watch wrestling, several different kinds.
Right, and that was a cool thing about during all this too, because with WWE and AEW, we still got events happening. We still got to see wrestling. We got to see competition, and we got to see characters develop still, even through all of this.
That's right.
With ROH and some of the others, with ROH, you got some shows that highlighted various competitors, and with the NWA, they gave us some new content. They gave us Carneyland and a few things like that were very entertaining.
I thought they were funny. The election.
Yeah. So we still won, even during COVID. COVID still didn't kill the business. It killed the live crowd, but it didn't kill the business. In World League Wrestling, we stayed on television as well because we got to go back and have some fun. Because you know how much fun it was to go back and do some of these retro episodes that we did to stay on television.
Oh yeah,
To go back and do some of the old stuff and show you guys again where World League Wrestling came from and how we've developed over all this time to what we are now. You know, you got to see the Trevor Murdochs.
That's right.
You know, you got to see all that stuff happen.
You know, you got to see Chris Masters wrestle.
Oh yes.
You got to see Nick Aldis wrestle
Nick
in a
Aldis?
tag team match.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, beside that, you know, Beer City Bruiser is Dinty Moore. You got to hear the dulcet tones of Matt Murphy.
The dulcet tones of Matt Murphy. Well, and you know, out of all that too, Amplify was born. We would have not had this podcast if it wasn't for COVID. Now, well, I can't say we wouldn't have had it. It could have happened, and it's been talked about even before that, but it just never came to fruition. So the front office decided, hey, let's try it now. Now's a good time. And, you know, and here we are. And this is what, our 12th episode now, I believe, something like that?
Yeah. This
That's
is
3 months.
the first one we filled the hour ourselves too. So
Yeah.
Or
Who'd have
filling.
Who'd have thought we could have a conversation for an hour?
Well, you know, I've always thought we could have a conversation for an hour about wrestling.
I could talk wrestling all day. Not everybody wants to hear my opinions about it all day, but
You know, I'd hate to be at it long enough that I actually turn into Jim Cornette and start talking about the back in my day wrestling, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I like today's wrestling. I like yesterday's wrestling. I spend most of my time enjoying the AEW product. I think it's crazy, and they don't have characters so much as they have people who are dialed up. You know, they're
right. I like that too. I'm AEW. I like AEW and NXT. That's kind of where I'm at.
You know, one of the things that caught me this week was seeing Kenny Omega teasing the cleaner again.
You know, bringing back a bit of New Japan with him like that, I think was really cool. And you saw him be a little dirty, a little nasty, a little bit of the cleaner,
Cleaning it up, you know.
And I'm liking that.
I feel sorry for Marco Stunt. I like him. I'd strongly suggest against him trying to challenge him, but knowing Marco Stunt, he's going to want to have a fight. And I mean, speaking of Marco Stunt, you know, they did this thing in the corner. It was a Canadian destroyer, but he did it on someone who was on someone.
Right.
And it was just some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen in wrestling. They got way out there with that.
There's been some cool stuff over there. And one of the other cool things that happened on AEW this week, too, is in the past we've seen, since they created and Cody got the TNT championship, Cody has defended that championship against some guys that wouldn't normally get a championship shot at a lot of things. We saw it, a couple of them really stand out to me. One of them was Jungle Boy.
Yeah, that was a
great
wonderful
match with Jungle Boy. To the bone. I mean, tore it up with Jungle Boy. It was good. That was good. As Booker T would say, good.
Very, very, very good. Yes.
And then in this last week, somebody you would have never thought would ever have a title shot in this industry, in Sonny Kiss.
Well, you know, I believe that Sonny Kiss earned the opportunity to be featured in a title match, you know, over his time. He got in there, he gave it his best. He tried to win the title. Even Cody told him at the end, you know, hey, you did a great job, you know, congratulations. You've, I guess, broken down walls.
there's a lot of barriers being broken in wrestling these days.
Did you notice that at the start of the match, even Cody didn't seem to be taking Sonny Kiss very seriously?
No, he didn't. And even Cody got a little dirty too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You saw an old, you talk about the cleaner, but you saw a little bit of dirty Cody in there too from New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting to see because even Arn Anderson wasn't happy with it.
You know, the thing that gets me about all of this, and I heard someone say this, and I didn't notice it until they said it, but they have teased all along that Hangman Page is going to be the bad guy of the group. But you got Kenny.
Did you see who Hangman Page had sitting next to him for a drink the other night?
You know.
Did you see that?
You drink with who you drink with. I mean. Well,
FTR sitting down there's kind of how would that be for a nice little group?
Well, you know, if he, you know, he said he's not one of the elite anymore at one point.
No.
And it's like I said, it seems like all the other guys in the elite seem to be leaning towards wanting to be a little more aggressive, maybe not caring so much about the rules, maybe letting that ego run a bit.
I just don't see the elite being a cohesive unit anymore.
No.
Because now you got the Bucks kind of defending FTR a little bit against Kenny, and that's upsetting Kenny quite a bit. You've got Hangman Page going off doing his own thing, and now he's sitting at the table with FTR.
I don't know how safe that makes
going.
them world titles that him and Kenny are holding either if he's fraternizing with the enemy. You know, not to mention, you know, you got FTR pouring a beer on Kenny.
You can't trust
and hanging out with
FTR.
his tag
You can
team.
befriend him all you want to, but you can't trust FTR.
No.
I mean, come on.
I like to say that it's for the win or fight the world. You know, it means a whole lot of things.
And how about my boy Orange, freshly squeezed, man?
I mean, he definitely had the moment of the night. I mean, it finished. They were still talking about it as they went off air. So, you know, I mean, what can't you say about it? It's kind of DX feely. You know.
No, that's what I thought of too.
You know, he's definitely let Le Champion know that it's not over yet, and I can't say anything bad about it. It's been entertaining, and let's just see what it does.
And how talented is Chris Jericho, even on commentary? Is there anything that Chris Jericho cannot do in this business?
I've never really...
Other than hang on to a title. Oh!
I don't think he's reffed either. I bet
he'd kill it. I bet he'd kill it.
It's, you know, if you know the rules, he knows what to avoid doing. And
he knows the rules because he breaks every one of them.
Right. He knows how to avoid getting caught. But yeah, Orange Cassidy dumped what seemed like
orange juice.
Well, it was how much orange juice, because you seen how the mat was the rest of the night.
Yeah.
I just remember they went off the air and Chris Jericho's, "I'm covered in orange juice," and JR's like, "You stink." You know.
How about those debuts? Got to go over to TNA.
Yeah.
Got some debuts this week too. Slammiversary.
A lot of ex-WWE guys.
I mean, okay, here we go. EC3 debuts. Heath Slater, now Heath, just Heath.
Just Heath.
He debuts. Got a nice picture of him and Rhino in the back during that. Nice little reunion there. Which they were actually SmackDown Tag Champions, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
You've got the Good Brothers.
Yeah, Gallows and
Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
They're there. I didn't see him get focused on as much as some of the new people, you know. You also had Eric Young showed up.
Eric Young, who was a TNA legend. I mean, if there was a TNA legend, well, first of all, you'd have to have Sting in there.
True.
Kurt Angle.
A lot of guys who were
Okay.
legends other places, you know,
Right.
they come in and,
But Eric Young, that's where he made his major. That's where he did his major stuff at.
right, he's a homegrown legend for Impact.
And he came home. Of course, these are guys who were unfortunately let go back in April or so during this whole COVID thing. Some of them finished up their 90 days, no competes, and ended up over there. He had FDR show up, of course, over at AEW. So now we get to see some of the guys that were let go in April from WWE. Heath, of course, got the chance to come back that one night for a match against
Oh heck.
Drew McIntyre. Wow. It was on the tip of my tongue. I just couldn't say it. Drew McIntyre. So, which was good to see. I'm sure he got paid well for that. And then turn around and debut on TNA.
Well,
And
and
I'm happy to
debut
see that.
strong. I mean, he DDT'd a man out of his.
You even got a new women's champion in Deonna Purrazzo, who has been on NXT several times.
Right.
Has competed there.
Well,
So-
and she looked really strong. I believe it was a battle royal. I got to see a little bit of the finish of the battle royal where it was a match, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If a battle royal goes down to two people, it can turn into a match.
Yeah.
And that's not every place that every place that it is, but, you know, some places that's part of the rules. This is when it's down to two competitors.
And today is WWE's event today.
Yes, Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules is today. And in there, one of the biggest things was that horror show where they're talking about the whole swamp match. I'm not really sure how to feel about that one.
You know,
I'm going to reserve judgment.
right. I don't want to go off.
I
on
really
it.
hope it doesn't turn out like the John Cena Bray Wyatt one, Funhouse or whatever it was.
I hope that it turns into something I want to talk about instead of something I would rather not talk about.
I hope it's.
You know,
I hope they pull something out that's going to be more like the AJ Styles Undertaker.
That would be a lot better.
That would be a lot better. If you're going to go cinematic, then that would be great.
And with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, I think that's a really good.
I'm a Braun Strowman fan, and I'm a Bray Wyatt fan. I like the Fiend. I like the Fiend.
Well, and it's kind of a full circle thing
It is.
too. So,
It is.
you know, I'd like to see the Fiend walk away with the title, but
It would be interesting.
Braun Strowman seems to be a man on a mission. So,
But he's a big, powerful man.
yeah,
Huge.
kind of recalls me to Who's Gonna Stop the Path of Cage.
Well, apparently Taz is by throwing in a towel.
Right. Right. You know,
And Brian Cage is now talking about he's not sure if he's not going to let relieve Taz of his duties or not.
Cage just came off of that injury. And there he is in an armbar. And I mean, Mox was laying it in.
He was.
At some point, if
He
you're a
could have
manager,
he could have tore him completely up.
right. At some point, if you're a manager, you got to think about your client's future. And I believe that's what he was doing is he was thinking about Cage's future. You know, maybe he gets another world title match because he didn't really get defeated. He got the towel thrown in.
That's possible. But see, Cage, everywhere Cage has been, Cage went. I saw him at Lucha Underground. I saw him at TNA. Was it TNA? Yeah, TNA. everywhere he's been, he's a monster.
Right.
They call him the Machine for a reason. Look at him; he's jacked.
He's extremely dominant.
Like 0% body fat.
Yeah, I mean,
The
let's be honest. He beat the hell out of Moxley too. So
sure.
I mean, it wasn't a one-sided match. They beat on each other for a good long time.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. One of the things also is earlier today, I told you that I was going to bring up something different. Okay, because I'm going to bring this all back around. We got just a few minutes left in the show. Believe it or not, it's gone by pretty fast. But I want to bring this all back around to World League Wrestling for a moment. Now, earlier today, I watched over the past few months, WWE has done that whole Undertaker series.
Right.
Okay, The Last Ride. Well, there's a new installment of it. We got to see everything from his debut to this last match with AJ and everything. Okay, and how all this transpired. With the surgeries and everything. A lot of his life that we wouldn't have known before, tearing the curtain down, pulling the veil, so to speak,
right.
of the Undertaker. And today's was stories from the Undertaker.
Oh my!
Yeah. So he told a lot of stories, about the Bone School crew, and that whole a lot of stuff. The plane ride from hell. He talked about that, choking Kurt Angle out because he thought he was hurting Vince McMahon. That's a loyal employee right there, I gotta say. But the one they brought up today was Wrestler's Court.
Oh my.
Okay. And he was talking about how the Undertaker was the judge, jury, and executioner. Okay. On Wrestler's Court. And what Wrestler's Court was if something happened, between the boys and girls, you would take them to Wrestler's Court, and usually you had JBL was the prosecuting attorney, I believe he was, or defensive attorney. I can't remember. Anyhow, you had a defense attorney, you had a prosecuting attorney who was your peers, and then of course the Undertaker was the judge. And this was things like maybe you didn't pay your share of travel expenses in the rental car, or whatever it was, and your peers would bring you to court. And this was a way for things to break the ice or break the monotony of being on the road.
Right.
Things get a little tense and everything, so they'd go back and they'd have a little fun. And usually your penance was, drinks were on you that night, or, you had to pay that guy's hotel bill for the next 3 days or something like that. Okay, that's usually what it was. So, my question is this. What would it be like? Set up the scenario. What would it be like if we had a Wrestler's Court at World League Wrestling? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, who would the judge be?
Well, snap decision. I can't say one. But I would almost have to say that either Leland Race.
Leland's too serious to be the judge.
Or, maybe Steve. Or Derek.
No.
Or John. Or maybe Jack Gamble.
I could see Steve.
Now,
I could see Superstar Steve.
Coming down the pike there, you got your prosecutor.
You need a prosecuting attorney, okay, and you need a defense attorney.
Now, for a prosecuting attorney, I would almost say it would have to be Stefan Newton, folks.
Oh, seriously?
That young man will argue anything. Well, I don't know,
which would also make him a great defense attorney.
More than likely.
JDR.
JDR, definitely. Definitely defense or prosecution.
You ever heard Moses sit there and debate?
He would be a fine defense attorney.
Moses, the deliverer.
I don't know if he could get someone prosecuted that didn't actually do anything.
I think
wrong.
Leland would actually be on trial a lot.
Well, and me too.
Stacy would be on trial a lot.
I mean, I'd much rather be on trial than have Derek.
I was walking
threatening to
through the
punch
arena
me,
and
you know.
Stacy mean mugged me. But then, no, that's not mean mug. That's just her normal face. That's what she does. She's a scowler. She's a Harley girl. She's probably listening. I'm gonna get. Oh, she's gonna get me on this one. You watch.
Gonna get stretched.
I'm gonna get stretched. Leland would be on. Who would? Okay, let's see. Okay, somebody goes on. Who would go on trial?
Well, you know.
Number one. Kyle Roberts would be on trial for his dad jokes.
Well, yeah, the dad jokes get pretty insane. Yeah, I could see that. You know, with the way Webb talked, you know, here on the podcast a couple weeks ago, I suppose that he would probably want me on trial.
Yeah, because you can't count to three.
And to be honest, Derek Stone wasn't super happy with me either last Saturday.
Ooh, you would have two of them. Who would you get to be your defense attorney? Who would you have defend you?
I would say Colton
What?
or Elaney.
To defend you?
Yeah. Yeah, Colton's extremely supportive of what I do as a referee. And,
Yeah, but can he argue your case?
well, he might not be able to argue the case with facts about being a referee, but his enthusiasm is second to none. So I would, you know, or Elaney, who actually has a really good concept. Or maybe, just maybe.
But
now,
are you sure
CT.
Elaney wouldn't throw you under the bus just because
Oh,
she would
no.
want to? Just because she would want the role of senior official?
I already know what role she wants, and it's
We're not talking
senior
about that
official,
right now.
So,
We're not talking about that right now. Right now.
if she does, she does, and it's poor choice. But it's like I said, I could always just make a phone call and get my old senior official to come down and defend me.
Richard?
Yeah, Richard White. He knows more about it than I do. I could call Schmitty.
Ooh.
I mean, you know, he'd come down and argue that perspective from a.
You know what? I saw him the other day post on Facebook how much he missed being on the road with us. And I wrote on there, I said, well, you can come home anytime you want to. He never responded.
Right. It's a long drive for him now, you know, so.
That's okay.
I mean,
Our heavyweight champion drives from Colorado.
This is true. This is true. But now I'm going to tell you, going out there and defending that world title and saying you're the best and the paydays that come for the guys who win their matches.
But he just got beat.
That's not the same as a ref slot.
But
so.
he just got beat.
Well, you know.
By Jaden Dominic Rose. No, Superstar Steve.
That's
Sorry.
right. I'm sitting here. I'm
Wow,
thinking.
I'm getting everything confused. Yeah. No, he got beat by Superstar
We're getting
Steve.
deep into the well now, folks.
Yeah.
Well, now see, here's the thing, and this is something that, you know, I was only going to touch on if it got brought up, and Derek Stone is under the impression that his tights were pulled. Now, this is something I did not see.
I didn't see it on the camera.
So, you know, the count is 3. You know, he told me about it in the ring, and he told me about it later on in the back. So,
Oh, did he?
well, yeah, he was none too happy. And I was already getting prepared for another Empire match. So, you know, it don't stop at them curtains, folks. It doesn't. It never does.
You wouldn't believe what goes on back there. And I'm stuck out front. I'm at the ring, so I don't get to go back there in between matches and see what's going on.
That's right. You know, if you just stop seeing me halfway through a night, sometimes you could sometimes assume that somebody didn't like something I did, and things got a little heated. They don't usually hit me unless there's people to see it.
Did Derek threaten to put you through the wall?
He definitely drew back on me right after the match.
He did.
After that, I was just a good little reaming. He told me about it, let me know his thoughts, and
so he's accusing Superstar Steve of pulling the tights.
That's what I was told. And I will say this so that the fans know, I did hear a fan yelling it too. But that was one lonely fan.
Well, consider the source on who the fan was, though, too. Who was? I mean, I'm not going to ask you. You can tell me off the air, but
I'm not sure if I know who it was. But
a lot of new faces at the last show.
Yeah,
faces I hadn't seen before.
It was a first come first serve kind of thing. There was only so many people allowed.
And thank you all for coming to that show because, we really didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And and I don't know why we didn't. I mean, we should have just expected you to come through for us because you always do. And I should have just expected it, but it was so good to see everybody at that show.
It was a breath of fresh air for what we've been living
and the fresh faces. That's what got me the most was the fresh faces at that show. And
probably some return fans now again. Every time we see new faces, we get new fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the family it keeps growing.
I mean, I don't want to brag and say we're the best game in town, but, we are the best game in town.
I'll tell you what, we're the Wolfpackiest Wolfpack.
Wolfpackiest Wolfpack?
That's right.
We're the most world wrestling-ness that there is.
Where pro wrestling lives.
That's right, man. I mean, if you come to a show, and I'm not sure when the next show is going to be just yet, but we'll announce it as soon as we can, and of course it'll be keep watching our Facebook page, keep watching our Instagram, Twitter, all of that,
right?
And,
There's possibilities ahead. We're trying to stay as safe as we can for everybody in the Wolf Pack.
Well, we got to watch the numbers, and we got to watch things that are going on in the county as far as, with the health, with everybody's health and everything. Right. And we got to keep everybody, all of and most importantly, our fans and our competitors, our staff, as healthy as we can, and that's what's most important. So. That's where we're at with that. So we'll let you know as soon as we can. With that being said, again, I want to thank our sponsors, Jim Trenary Ford in Moscow Mills, Jim Trenary Chevrolet in Troy, Impact Digital Designs,
and Traveling East Productions, and CT Harrison Business Solutions.
Now, see, it wasn't a shameless plug because I didn't say it.
And it wasn't shameless on my part because I said it backwards.
Ooh, true. And you didn't get paid for that.
That's right.
Okay. That being said, and first and foremost, thank you to the fans of World League Wrestling, because without you, we wouldn't be here. And we do it all for you.
Yep.
It's the Harley way, man. That's just how it is.
World League stuck with the fans, and the fans stuck with World League through all this. And, geez, where will we be a year from now, folks? Because it's going to be great wrestling.
I say we find out. We stick to it, and we find out where we're going to be in a year.
Right there with you, bro.
Big things. Big things, I guarantee you. So, that being said, thanks for joining us this Sunday. We'll see you next Sunday here on WLW Amplify. I'm CT Harrison.
I'm Martin Kattich.
We love you, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it.